Okay. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the weekly meeting for the Rotary Club of Harleysville. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the four-way test of all the things we say and do. Is it the truth, sincerity of all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Gary's feeling ill this morning, so just if you haven't read about it in the news, the stomach thing's going around. I think it's going to be a bad season for that, so keep an eye out, your contact with other people. So I will do his reflection for him this morning. Lord, please watch over us this morning as we gather in fellowship as Rotarians, as we think about the needs of others in our communities and how we can serve communities in the talents that we have as a collective group. Watch over the people of Ukraine as they continue to deal with the challenges that they're facing there, and the people in Ohio and people across the country who are dealing with some of the challenging weather that we're having this past week. Watch over us as we gather in fellowship this morning. Amen. Amen. Okay. So spring is about to spring. So there's a lot of stuff coming up on the calendar. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to engage in the community, to serve the community if you're interested. Starting with tomorrow, there's two things happening tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, the four-way test committee for the four-way test breakfast is having a meeting as we plan forward for that program. I think all the information is put together. There will be an email coming out about that shortly with information, so we can reach out to the community to invite people to attend and to invite people who might be interested in sponsoring that event. If you'd like to, that's a virtual meeting, so that'll be a Zoom meeting. If you want to jump on from wherever you are. And then at 5:30, there will be a happy hour at Time Out and Skip Back. We're trying to bolster our presence in the Skip Back area to build up the satellite club. So that's an opportunity for us to enjoy fellowship and show our presence in the Skip Back area. So that'll be 5:30 tomorrow. The following week on the 7th, the satellite club will be having a meeting at Time Out. So the plan for that meeting is we're going to kind of follow the information that we have in this week's meeting and then kind of review and present that information to the group that for the Skip Back Club. And that will be at 5:30 on March 7th at Time Out at Skip Back. So that'll be included in this week's meeting recap for more information. On March 8th, at Brookside Country Club, the Rotary International Foundation is having a gala that evening. That will be from 5:30 to 8 p.m. This is an opportunity, if we wish, to be able to put together a basket. Frank spoke about some of the basket makings that he has. So if we're interested in putting together maybe a golf-themed basket, since it is at a golf club, that might be a great opportunity for us to be able to support that. Following that, and 10 days later, is the Foundation Gala, the Spring Fling at the William Penn Inn. We typically have a basket for that, and it's typically the club puts that together. Is anyone interested in spearheading putting together the baskets for either of these events? Okay, Frank's going to help out with those. If anyone wants to participate or maybe gather some things that Frank can put into the baskets, please let Frank know. So I think
I'll have a list next week.
Okay, so Frank will have a list next week. Like you had mentioned last week, I would imagine the Brookside one might be golf themed. The Gala one is typically a spirits themed basket. Information for those two events are on the district website if you'd like to register to attend them or for more information. The four-way test speech contest is coming up in March. Has a date been determined? Bill, you have an update?
I have a sign-up sheet. Doc has come back and they've, the 22nd seems to work for them. It would be at 2:45. We've had it both times, and I think that's after their class. The room will yet to be determined where they actually hold it, but I'll let you know that. And so it's 2:45, Wednesday, March 22nd. And we need, well, there's actually four things: an MC, a transition speaker, timekeeper, judges, and a score tally. I'll sign about it. It's a sign-up sheet. It's like 3 weeks. But I also attached like the timekeeper's sheet, just so if you're not sure, you can read through it. The judge's sheet, things of that nature. So it's a good event. It's very enjoyable. So I'll pass this around, and good.
You know, these young people who do these speeches are pretty amazing. Last year at the district conference in Hershey, we had an opportunity to hear a couple of the people who were some of the winners from our district four-way test contest, and they were absolutely amazing to hear these young people so poised and just doing their speeches. Is absolutely amazing. On the 25th, there is an RLI Rotary Leadership Institute at the Gambit Center in Center Valley. So it's kind of up towards, kind of in between here in Allentown. And that is from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I believe that's a Saturday. If you'd like to register for that, there's information for that on the district website. If you're interested in engaging more in leadership opportunities within Rotary, that's a great opportunity to learn about that and also about the resources that are available for that. Yep.
I just want to add to that, especially we have some newer members. We have some new members. This is a great way to find out more about Rotary. Now a lot of people think because they say leadership that, now I'm going to have to become president or something. The answer is no. It's really it should be really called a learning instead of leadership, because that's what it's about. And it's a great thing. There's several levels to go in. I'm really advise you to take a Saturday morning, kind of part of the afternoon. Really sign up for this, and it just gives you, when we do the trivia and everybody's sitting around waiting for somebody to answer, when you go to these things, you learn about Rotary, and you become more involved and more understanding of what's going on. You don't have to ask everybody else what's happening. But I really highly recommend it for new people or people who've never been there. Right? If you've been a long-term member, never been to one, try it. Please.
Yes.
Do you know if that's going to be online at all? On Zoom?
No. So it's in person. That's at the sales. The Gambit Center is at the sales university.
Date on that again?
25th. Saturday, March 25th. Family bowling night's coming up on April 22nd. So please keep that in mind. We're going to be looking for sponsors for that event. We're obviously going to be looking for bowlers also. As we get closer to that event, we'll continue to have more information about that. Is there a committee meeting coming up for that, Valerie?
Of course. Actually, I do need to see your date with our audit, so I hope to do that.
Okay. And when is the next committee meeting? To be scheduled? Okay, thank you very much. I'm waiting to hear back from the Sebastian Riding Academy on a date in May that we'll be able to go and do our service day there. The date that we were targeting towards the end of April was not available because they had another group there already. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. We are going to target the same day as the bowling night. That morning, we're going to target and adopt a highway service day that morning. So as we get closer to that, we'll have a sign-up sheet sent around for that, and we'll send that around. So the morning we'll have adopt a highway, and that evening we'll have the bowling night on that day. Recently, I started attending some of the township meetings just because I want to kind of have myself more informed about what's going on in the township, learn something interesting about what's going on with Harleysville Insurance. It sounds like they didn't say the name of the company, but it sounds like it might be some kind of a technology company moving in there. They're going to be retrofitting the building and maybe doing some additional township park walkways around Oak Drive and Maple Avenue. So that's very interesting. That's developing. But at the park committee meeting last night, one thing that was brought up on April 15th, the Perkiomen watershed is having their annual stream cleanup day. If we're interested in having a group participate in that, I'm willing to spearhead that. We can sign up as a group. I think we can identify a tributary within the township that we might be able to do. Maybe that little one stretch along the side of Hennings, something simple in the morning just for a couple hours, clean up some trash along the side of the creek. Be a great opportunity for us again to show our presence within town and do something great for the community and for the environment. So I'm going to see if I can get some information from them in the coming week, and then see if we can participate in that. So I have a couple great outdoor events coming up in April. The four-way test contest breakfast is coming up on May 17th. As I mentioned earlier, or may have mentioned earlier, we're going to have some information coming out in an email about that soon to invite participants and to see if we can gather some sponsors for that event. If you've not attended that before, it's pretty amazing to see some of the people that have been honored in the past. Last year was a fantastic meeting. Interestingly, Kent Krause is one of the supervisors in Lower Salford Township last night. So when I attended the Park Commission meeting, he recognized me and I gave him a nice wave. So that was pretty neat to see him there. And looking farther ahead towards the end of the summer, keep in mind that we're going to be participating in the parking at the 4-H again this year, and that'll be on August 11th. So there's a lot coming up. We had kind of a really busy fall. We had a nice quiet holiday season, a little bit of a quiet beginning of the year, but now things are going to ramp up. So things are going to get pretty exciting for the next couple of months. Does anyone have anything else that they want to mention for the calendar? Len?
Has the township said anything to us? There was a clock, they wanted a reason clock or something.
I can find out about that, yeah.
The reason I asked is I went in there for the adopt the highway and then the sign said something. But we were still thinking we wanted to do something. I said, no, we haven't heard anything, but I said, talked about it, so I hope that we were going to do it.
Was that Kevin Shelley you were talking to?
No, the guy, yeah, we should know his name. The manager, the road guy.
Oh, okay.
That was at the scout cabin when we were there this summer.
Yeah, yep. Well, Kevin's the one we talked. Doug, okay. Kevin's the one we spoke to. He was at the Halloween parade, and we had a brief conversation with him about that there also. He's one of the supervisors. So maybe I'll reach out to him and find out. And now that we know Kent, he's on the board of supervisors now. So he'll be a great contact for us. I'm sorry, Dean?
Camp 90 is coming up. Phil, do you know when the deadline is? Does everybody know what Camp 90 is all about? People don't.
Yeah, I just got forwarded an email from Shushma. I'm not necessarily on that list, but Shushma sent me. But anyway, it's a leadership camp that takes place early June. It's for 11th graders. And we work typically with Doc, although we open it up to really anybody. So if you know anybody from, could be another school, might be a relative, it's open. And these kids go away, it's a 3-day event. They're required to be there the entire time. There's speakers, there's leadership activities, skills that they learn and go through. It's a rewarding. The kids go with a little trepidation. And by the time they leave, they are, oh my God, all about it. And friends.
The juniors, category juniors.
Yes,
Juniors.
Oh, juniors, yes, 11th graders, juniors.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I guess an old term, 11. Everybody's a junior. That would be terrific.
What's he said? What's he said?
Oh, she's going to reach out to the Interact Club.
Do they have a meeting, like, a meeting coming up? The Interact Club? Third Thursday of the month. And it's at the school, I guess, right?
I'll bring more information next week.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, if you want, I could maybe come to speak at that, to talk about Camp 90, if you want, or.
Get back just out in Telford,
Yeah,
because they've been there a long time, so, trying to get the presence there.
oh, okay,
We can't invite the students to come to our kids.
yeah, yep. Okay, yeah, so if someone can so I'll make sure I try to write that down. If there's any information like in an invitation or something like that, someone can forward that to me. I'll make sure I can, okay, third Thursday, 3 p.m. Got it. Okay. All right.
One more thing.
Dues? Wait, what are you saying? What's out?
Club dude.
Okay. I'm sorry. One more. Tim, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a reminder that the email Wise having their national fitness walk Wednesday, May 31st. I'll have the time back yet. I'm talking about it next week. That's for National Senior Health and Fitness Day. It's going to be at Coming Park. Actually, it's going to be later in the morning. So I'll be helping out with that. I'll get more details.
Okay. Yeah, if there's an opportunity for us to volunteer at that event, that would be great for us. Yeah. Even if it's something like helping to set up or help take down stuff at the end of the race or clean up or something like that. Just as a reminder, if anyone has dues that they have or in arrears on, just try to keep that up. We're going to try to just keep more of an eye on that. There's occasionally where we've had a few members here and there who have gotten a little bit behind, and we just want to make sure that we're maybe being more proactive about that. Just because some portion of the dues are dues that we pay out to Rotary International. So, some of the dues that we collect go out, not necessarily keep all of it. So, we have a certain responsibility that is still going to be from our club. Any other events? Yes.
Just a comment about Camp 90, Tyler Hunter, a fellow that has this little band at the Halloween parade. He went to Camp 90 when he was.
You know what? He would probably be a great. Well, he went to Doc. Did he go to Doc? Okay, so he'd probably be a good speaker if we were going to do a presentation about Camp 90 at Doc. Yeah, I remember speaking with him at the Halloween parade. He's really a great young man. Obviously, their music was pretty great that day. Okay, on to today's program. And we will start with Rotary Trivia.
Why we're doing this.
Larry, if you would, please. Live from the Franconia Cafe, it's another exciting edition of Rotary Trivia. Join join us as one lucky contestant. I'm just making this up. Join us as one lucky contestant will play to win a fabulous running prize by showing us what they know about the Rotary. I'm your announcer, Larry Moss. Here with their host, Phil Jenkins.
Oh, yes. You missed rehearsal this week. All right, let's get started by telling the audience about today's grand prize.
I'll ask the audience to direct their attention to our spokesperson, Carol Bauer. Today's contestants play for a limited edition Rotary cowbell. Express your enthusiasm from the stands with this boisterous noisemaker. Perfect for raising spirits at pep rallies, parades, sporting events, country fairs, Rotaries, and so much more. Don't have a special event? Simply attach the bell to a cow. Not available in stores. Retail value of today's grand prize. It's a lot of money. No bull.
And we know why cows have bells.
Oh,
Because most of them don't have horns. Anyway, how about introducing
today's contestant was selected at random from our studio audience just moments ago. Once the Rotarian hears the question, the correct answer will no doubt ring a bell. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to Lisa
All right. What is the highest award a Rotarian can receive? Fellowship Award, District Governor's Award, Service Above Self Award, President Mertz Award.
Johnny.
Of course, you know, you always have the lifelines. Ask a friend, a 50-50, and ask the audience.
Well, obviously, it's D. But
Well, yeah, that's if we ask the audience or ask a friend and the friend's John.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's A, but I'm going to ask the audience.
Yeah, let's ask the audience.
Right? It's not the right answer.
All right, audience, how many think it's a Fellowship Award?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one hand, all right.
Pause that. How about the District Governor's Award? Even Frank doesn't think that. How about the Service Above Self? There you go. This all comes from people who've never heard of it. And how about the President John Mertz Award? You all want it? Ah, yeah. Everybody loves that. All right, well, since the audience overwhelmingly chooses C, Service Above Self.
I'm going to trust the audience.
Trust the audience.
Yep.
Okay, Dan, if you would. All right, sorry, John. Yeah. And is it Fellowship or Service Above Self? Yeah! You are a winner. That cowbell is yours, but as always, oh, wait, there's more. Service Above Self Award. Rotary's highest honor is a prestigious award for Rotarians and Rotaractors who demonstrate Rotary's motto, Service Above Self, by showing their commitment to helping others by volunteering their time and talents. Candidates are nominated by district governors, and the award is internationally competitive and is granted to no more than 150 Rotarians worldwide. So it is a pretty exclusive list to that end. But anyway, you are a winner. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Why do you have cowbells in State Rotary?
Why do we have cowbells at the
Well,
Rotary?
to be very honest, that went back to a district conference, I'll say, many years ago. It was hosted by Doug Cook. He had this theme with a cow. And I'm not sure exactly why. Had nothing to do with it, he said. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal with the cow? He said, it's just fun. So I thought, there you go. And I wound up gleaning a few of these bells at the end of the day, knowing that Lisa might want one in the future. Also, as a complete side that there are many, many awards out there. And, you know, to say this is the highest, this does seem to indicate at the top, depending on which sites you look at. But there are awards regarding polio, the foundation, which are all very high else might volunteer for the other stuff. There are many, many Rotary awards.
If we all had cowbells and we rang them at the meeting, that might help us draw some people in from the rest. Yes.
I might have a half a dozen of them left.
So when we go to, when we have our happy hour at Skip Back, so bring your cowbells. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, we do have a speaker today. You know, as many of you know, Jackie Burley, a member of our club, is a mom. She is a nurse, wife, daughter, and sister. Jackie moved to Harleysville in 1996 and joined the Harleysville Rotary Club in 2015. Jackie enjoyed.
I can correct that. It was, I looked at it's 17.
2017? Okay. Let's.
Is that the truth?
Number one.
Hence I corrected it.
You know, and as we know, Jackie does a lot of great things to outreach to people who are experiencing a lot of challenges within their communities. And she certainly enjoys helping the community through the work that we do here at Rotary. So I'd like to welcome Jackie up. Good morning, Jackie.
Where would you like me to stand?
Wherever you're.
Oh, here. So, this is how I found out when I joined Rotary. This is my original folder. And in it are all my original things. So I even have the Rotarian magazine when I started. So that was this was June 2018, but I know I started in 2017. April 2017. Okay, good.
Now I got witnesses.
That's right. So I know most of you know me because of my tragedy, but I'd like to start with, you know, the fact that I joined Rotary in 2017, and that was right before everything happened in my life. My life changed. And I joined Rotary because, well, Chip, who spoke a few weeks ago, talked about my husband was in Rotary many, many years ago. He was in Harleysville Rotary. He was working in the area, so it made sense for him to be here. And, you know, I actually went on the England trip that they went to, which was, yeah, I can't even remember. I know there were pictures of it at one time that, if anybody remembers that.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah. It was a really fun trip. We really enjoyed it. We went and met the Rotary over in England. And it just so happened where my husband was working, we got some stuff from one of the factories like that made the Liberty Bell. We got a bell, and it was a really neat experience. And as John said, I'm a nurse, so I got to go to the Florence Nightingale Museum. So for me, that was just like heaven, because I love Florence Nightingale, and I got some really great books and things about her. I really do enjoy Rotary and everything it does. Marcia, I am so sorry, but I guess I lost a lot of my memory after my event. So if there's ever anything you all say to me, it's not, I just have lost a lot. Yeah. So I'll talk about me. I grew up, I was the oldest of 6 children. I am the oldest of 6 children. I grew up in Port Richmond in Philadelphia. So I am a real Philadelphia girl. I always say, put your dukes up. It's kind of like the Delco girls they talk about. Well, the Philly girls, I think, can trump the Delco girls if we need to. Something that, nobody knows, well, Chip knows, my father was a Philadelphia councilman. He worked under Rizzo's regime. And he also worked under Governor Bob Casey's, he was in his administration as well. So I grew up in a political family. My father's family came from Poland, so I am 100% Polish. And he and my mother were very into the community and service. So I grew up basically never not doing service for others. My mother actually started the Philadelphia Garden something or other. My mom was on the Mayor's Commission for Women. I mean, so very, very involved. I actually met my husband, Ed, while I was working in Philadelphia. No, actually, I met him at Villanova, and then we started. He asked me if I wanted a job, and then the story goes on from there. That you're not supposed to date somebody you work with, but it happened. It's done. What are you gonna do? So I went to Holy Family College, which is now Holy Family University in Philadelphia. My entire school career was at Catholic schools. I never didn't go to a Catholic school. So I went to Holy Family College. I went to Nazareth Academy High School. Went to St. Albert's Elementary School in Port Richmond. And then I went to Villanova University for my graduate degree. And that's where I met my husband. And funny story, my mom said, go to Villanova, you'll meet somebody with money. Well, I met somebody, but he had no money. So here I am living in Harleysville, working hard. As I said, I'm the oldest of 6. Right now, there are 15 grandchildren that my parents have. And my father passed away during COVID. And my mom still lives alone. She lives in the Oaks area. She lives in a 55 and older community. Let's see. So I moved up here in 1996 after moving here from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Now, city girl going to Harrisburg, oh my goodness. I didn't even know there were that many cows. It was quite a culture shock. And in Harrisburg, there's an east side and a west side, and nobody went across the bridge. Like, so if you were from this side, you didn't go on this side. If you were from this side, you didn't go on this side. Well, Ed and I went back and forth, so we were very odd for that area. That's where I had 2 of my children at Harrisburg Hospital. I also worked there when I had them, which was another interesting piece. As a nurse, they either don't come and check on you because they think you know everything, or they check on you too much. Well, nobody came to check on me. So, I was lucky to have a private room, but the door was closed all the time, and the only people that came to see me were visitors. So I had a lot of hospital visitors, but my nurses, I guess they just assumed I knew everything, which I didn't, because I was not a maternity nurse. And if anybody knows about nurses, you know a little bit about certain things, but you usually are in one area of nursing, as a doctor is. So, I grew up wanting to be a nurse. At age 3, I wanted to be a nurse. So I kind of was in an unusual situation where I didn't have to think when I graduated from high school and went right to college, knew what I wanted to do. So when we moved here after Harrisburg, it was because my husband got a job in Central New Jersey. And I refused to move to Central New Jersey. because there were no family members there. I had 2 children, and I just thought I'll be left alone because Ed is a nursing home administrator, so he basically works 24/7, and I didn't want to get stuck. So I said, we're moving here and you can go do whatever you want because I need people. So he did move around quite a bit. And I will tell you, raising 4 children, my husband lived in Arizona for 6 months. He lived in Indiana for a year. He was always someplace. But I had the ability, I guess, you have to have it, to take care of my children. So I have 4 children. My oldest, Janelle, is 30. She just got married. My second was Jenna, who I think all of you probably know her story. My third is Jeb. He is 26. He currently is in Hawaii, bouncing around. He told me he's retired, and he's just indefinitely popping around. So we'll see. And my youngest, Jacob, is 22, and he works down at St. Ignatius with my husband. My husband works at St. Ignatius in West Philadelphia. So my youngest son does that. All my children went to college. Unfortunately, Jenna did not graduate. She did graduate from Monco, though. She had quite a array of schools that she went to. Jacob did not, because Jacob was 16 when our life changed, and it really affected him. So we're now trying to get him to decide what to do. And I don't want to bring anybody down, but it's part of my story, so I have to tell it. My children are very close. They're also very close with their cousins. So they're always with their cousins. There's like a cousin text goes around. I'm not allowed to be on that, but they're all much older now. I mean, they're all like getting to be 21 and over. My first 3 were the oldest of the 15. So they're kind of like the leaders of the pack, if you would. And Janelle and Brian, that's her husband, she still like will do things with them, interacts with them. Jenna was very close with them. So unfortunately, everybody was affected so some are in a good place and some aren't. So we have a lot going on in our family. As far as like, I have one nephew who just kind of took off. He lives in North Carolina. He went to Temple with Jen. Like, he went to Temple, and that didn't work out too well for him. He's just horrified still. But they are all very close. We own a condo in Avalon, and over the last few years, my nieces and nephews have taken it over. Because nice Aunt Jackie said, sure, you could go on a weekend. You don't have to pay me. And then Aunt Jackie goes and has to clean up after them. So that's not happening anymore. But I will have like nieces and nephews. They ask me, you know, my son now put a lock so that they all can get in, like, instead of asking for a key, which we weren't too happy with, but at least I can get in if I forget my key, because I do that sometimes. So I do spend a lot of time in Avalon over the last few years in the summer. We rented it for the first 30 years probably. We've owned it for that long, and we decided to open it up to ourselves to enjoy. I am a nurse. That, as I said, that's all I ever wanted to do. I started out in oncology, and then I went into elderly care, geriatric care, and I did that for about 15 years. And then somebody approached me about doing some education because I do love to teach. I taught at Gwinnett Mercy College and Holy Family University for a couple semesters. Somebody came up to me and asked me if I would do some education for hospice. Now, I knew I never wanted to be a hospice nurse, but I did enjoy education. And so I worked in hospice for over 12 years, actually 15 years. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, during COVID, my job got nicked. And then I started working for another company. And unfortunately, I just have been real about this. They told me because of my situation, I was a director, because of my situation, my personal situation, they didn't feel like I was a fit anymore after 2 years. So I have not been working since August. At first I was very angry and frustrated, and but then I decided, as I'm going back to my roots and godly life, which I really got away from because I'm still angry at God, but we have a lot of conversations, he and I did start praying over it, and maybe this was something that was supposed to happen. I don't know. I watch a lot of Netflix, so if anyone wants to know a good show on Netflix, ask Jackie. So I do that a lot. I do work with our charity. So we opened up Jenna's Blessing Bags, in case people don't know. We do work for the homeless. And we don't do it full time. I mean, it's everybody volunteers in our organization. We get volunteers from all over, and I don't mean just this community. I have volunteers coming from different areas of the suburbs that heard about us in multiple ways. And I guess because Jenna's story was on national TV, that's why a lot of people heard about it. So we do a lot of work. Janelle is our executive director. She lives in Florida, but she can do Janelle's very, very intelligent and very good at things. And I wish she lived here because she would be whipping you guys. She'd do everything. She can multitask, and she's just like one of those kids. I wish she could join Rotary. She said maybe she'll join it in Florida, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess fun fact, I danced in a Polish folk dance group all through elementary and high school. And we did go all over to conventions and stuff. So my first flight was to San Francisco with that group. My first flight ever, I was 17. Being one of 6 and living in the city, and back then, people in council made 0 money. They didn't make like what they're making today. So, not that we were poor, but we weren't rich. And, my mom and dad really did well, sending 6 kids to college. And, I do look up to them and how they do things. And my children and all their grandchildren really respected them. I think that's it. Chip, can you think of anything else?
The event coming up in April.
Oh, well, yes, that's right.
Interesting.
Yes. So Chip and my husband were best friends since middle school. So that's how I know Chip so well. In fact, our first date was at Chip's house. So, and Chip's mother-in-law said that Ed was going to marry me, our first date. And I think I blushed, and here I am married. 31 years.
It's been hell ever since.
And it's been hell ever since. Chip and Ed are quite a duo. Only special people can be with them. They keep us running. We are having an event, and I would love it if Rotary could maybe get a table. It's a bingo. I mean, I don't know if, there are men coming. It's a designer bag bingo, but now we have a whole table of couples. It's $40 a ticket. It's at St. Maria Goretti. So, you know, us Catholics, you bring your own booze, you bring your food, everybody does. I don't know if any of you have been to a designer bag bingo or any of those bingos, but usually if you can, so you bring your own, I mean, these women go out, way out. I mean, they bring like spreads like you wouldn't believe, and they bring their wine or whatever they drink. We're gonna do some food sales in case there are people who come who don't have food. That's really rare, but we're gonna do it anyway. It is on April 14th. It starts at 7, but open doors at 6, which you won't believe, there will be people there at 5:30 standing in line to get in for a 7 o'clock thing. This is what these bingos do, and I think Carol was shaking her head. You've probably seen one or been one. I've been to quite a few, and that's why we decided to do it, because people are just really into it. And bingo is fun. Janelle and I went to my first with Janelle, my first designer bag bingo. We didn't win a bag, but Janelle won a bunch of, you know, other stuff. So that was fun. You've heard me talk about my daughter a lot. That's because she and I are really close. All 3 of us were close. And we do a lot together, even though she's in Florida. We travel back and forth to see each other. And even her husband, he's like a son to me. So it's nice to be able to have that kind of relationship with people. But I love people, and I love relationships with people. And, you know, I really do care about people. So if you ever are in distress or sad, just call me. I'm a really good person to sit next to you and just cry with you if you need that, or sit with you. I wouldn't give advice unless you asked for it. I've done a lot of counseling for people who are in hospice, ran a lot of groups. So I am looking for a job. If anybody, I can't do patient care because I've had a lot of back issues and I've had a hip replacement, and but I can do administrative type things and home care. So if anybody hears more, and that's me. I know it's a lot.
Next question.
Yes,
Have you ever danced at the shrine?
I have. I was the May Queen once at the shrine.
Wow.
I put the crown, thank you, on the Blessed Mother at the shrine. I was involved in a group called PKM. It's a Polish thing, but it's an intercollegiate group that my parents were actually in, and that's where my parents met. And then I joined. I am the most Polish of my brothers and sisters. If that makes sense. They didn't want anything to do with anything Polish. Like that's, you know, I mean, they say they're Polish, but they're not into like any of the extracurricular stuff that I've done. My dad also started an organization called the Polish Heritage Society, and he started it for me, I guess. I'm not involved in that group. It's still running. But there, you know, I've been very involved in the Polish community. I grew up in the Polish community. And so a lot of my friends. Yeah.
Was it your grandparents who came over from Poland, or how far back?
Yeah, so very interesting. My father's father was born here in the United States, then went to Poland, and they were living in Poland. His whole family is in Poland. But during the war, he was of age, so they sent him back to the United States. So he wouldn't have to fight and serve. So he was here. He did not speak English very well. And we did not speak Polish. I mean, I knew a little bit of Polish, but my father didn't know English until he was 7. And he learned English in elementary school. But my grandfather didn't. My grandmother, we called them Babci and Jaji. My grandmother did speak English. She was from the Germantown area. And then my mother's parents, it went back. Like, so my mother's grandmother, the house my brother lives in, my mother's grandmother built in Port Richmond. Like, she actually bought a brand new home. And my brother's living in it now. Yeah.
Did your husband have anything to do with the naming of your kids? All your kids' names begin with J. What is that?
No, so this is how that happened. Janelle, my husband came up with, and I was like, I don't know. I wasn't quite liking it. And I had a dream that they wouldn't let me have the baby unless they came up with a name. So I woke up that morning and said, we're naming her Janelle Logan. So Logan Square East is where I work. So she's actually, and that's where my husband and I got together. So she's actually named after a building. So it's Janelle Logan. And then my husband wanted to have a 4th. So he's the 3rd. He wanted a 4th. So then when we had a girl, I'm like, oh God, if we don't name this one with a J, and the boy's gonna, because my husband is Joseph Edward.
Joseph, okay, so it is, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, if we don't do that, then that middle child is gonna feel, in my head, this is how crazy I am. In my head, I'm thinking that, so we have to come up with a J name, because I don't want them to feel out of the loop. And then I did have a son, and that was gonna be it. So, you know, I had 3 J's, and then we had an Upsy. And so I had to name Jacob. I shouldn't call him an Upsy, because I can't imagine my life without him, but he was the one that was not. Chip is his godfather, believe it or not. And he's a lot like Chip sometimes. He's a really good godfather, I have to say that. Jacob really loves him. So then I had to do the J, and then we started getting dogs, and the dogs were named Jay. It just keeps going. So yeah, it's crazy. And to go back even further, my brothers and sisters and I are all J's.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with the J name.
Yeah.
No, just, you know, it just came up like that. Yes, Chip.
Because I don't know how to spell it either, but anybody in here can spell your maiden name, I'll buy them breakfast.
It's Zazichny.
I saw it, but I wasn't gonna try to pronounce it.
Zazichny.
Are there any vowels in there?
Oh, so it's Zazichny. So if you have to say
Is
it,
that your email address?
no, that is my current, yes, Jacqueline Zazichny Burley.
How do you spell it?
Nobody wants to try?
Oh.
I thought I would just check if you wanted a free breakfast. Jim was offering. It's ZAZYCZNY. I learned it to spell my name because my name was Jacqueline Zazichny. So for a young child, that's a lot of letters, but I had the chicken pox and learned how to spell it because that's what my mom made me do while I was stuck at home in kindergarten. I learned how to spell my name, my full name. And I go by Jackie, except my father used to say when he got angry at me, Jacqueline. So I always knew when I was in trouble. Yeah.
Oh, one last thing. I want to mention that Jackie is one that she really is somebody that can help you go through transitional things. I let her know that I had a family member that needed hospice care. And I was on the phone with Jackie a few times, and somehow she got my cousin into her husband's place. And my cousin transitioned at Tulip in Philadelphia. So that was part of one of the things that I really appreciate.
Thank you. If you ever need help with either of us, we can help you. Kind of do it together, helping others find their place, because getting older isn't easy and nobody really talks to you the right way, so it's never understandable out there in the medical world. Yeah. Anybody else? Yep.
This is an interesting fun fact for you. I was born in Harleysville, Hospital.
Oh.
Well, my dad, I grew up in Lebanon, PA, and my dad
yeah.
was the only OB/GYN in town at the time, so.
Okay.
And my brother was born in Harrisburg Hospital, so they said, well, Marcia's the third of three, and it's 45-minute drive in winter, and we better schedule it, so.
Oh, so you were scheduled.
So, yeah, so
Your dad was an OB/GYN?
Yeah.
What was his name? Oh, he wouldn't have.
George Pals, but I mean, he's been dead.
No, I was just wondering if he was, because I went to a practice down there, so.
Well, he did his training in Harrisburg. That's why my brother.
If you ever want to move to a really cool little city, Harrisburg is a cool, I mean,
Were you in like Colonial Park or Campbell?
we actually were in Camp Hill. Yeah, so we were on the other side of the pond. So I worked at Harrisburg Hospital and Holy Spirit Home Care, because Holy Spirit Hospital is there. So I worked on both sides of the
I'll have to share a couple
river.
of stories.
Oh,
from-
cool.
from my dad.
Anybody else? Yeah.
And we know people that have gone through things like that of a child or whatever. So what can you tell us? What can you say to somebody?
When people are passing or
If they lost a child.
oh, a child loss. You know what? I have to say, nothing you like. There's really nothing that you can say. What I've learned to do, like when I sign cards or if I'm talking to somebody online, I always end things in love and peace, because I realized that I'm so sorry for your loss. Well, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't feel, because everybody says it. So I think what's really important with child loss, if you know the person, there is a time when everybody just goes away. And if you could be the one that kind of stops by now and then or sends a card or makes a call, that is wonderful. Or just, stops. I love when people stop by. Nobody stops by my house now, but I used to, I had a house full of people with food and alcohol, and I am not kidding, for 3 months. In and out of my house. And that's all I remember, because I just kind of was in a stupor at that time. And I would just go up to my room when I had enough. But you have all this support. But then I remember the day the support went away. I remember it clear as day. I didn't get a text. It was a Saturday. I didn't get one text. And I was like, this is it. Now I have to go live my life. And so if you could be someone, sometimes it's just sitting there. That's what I like to do. Or just saying, I'm sending you a lot of love. Or I'm sending you a lot of peace. Because that's not there. You feel the love, but you need the love. You need extra love during that time. And I know many people who have lost children now. Unfortunately, now I know too many people have lost children just because you become your own little club. It's a club that nobody wants to belong to. That's what they call it. And it's something that doesn't go, it's been 6 years. I feel like it was yesterday. You know, you still feel like your child's gonna walk through the door any minute. And I guess because I didn't have time to prepare, you know, when a child's in the hospital, I even said that. I said, God, you know, if this was her time, I get it. Being a hospice nurse, I kind of get when your time comes. But like, why this way? You know? So, anyway, that's how I would do it. And I even do that for older people too. Now, I used to sign all my cards, because we always, in hospice, send cards to families with all the employees' names on it, just as a support. And then we make calls throughout when somebody's on hospice. I always sign my card, love and peace, with my name. Not in sympathy, or not sorry for your loss, or not, just because that didn't feel that great to me, and just giving love, or a hand, or I had one friend who was sending cards every now and then, and that was kind of cool, because I would like get mail, would be like, well, I got some mail, and I was lucky to have supportive people at work in the beginning, but then COVID hit, and like, because your life changes forever, like this is who I am. So even in my work experience, I kind of have to tell people, I can't just hide, especially because it made national news. Because I always know people know, and they don't want to say anything, so I just say it. Probably heard of my daughter, and you know, I do have bad days, like we all have bad days. But like I said, God gives you a deck of cards, I guess. You get a deck of cards, and you have to play the hand you got, whether you want to or not. Okay.
Thank you, Jackie.
I am really sorry.
Thank you, Jackie. Real quick, let's do the 50-50 raffle.
There's $835 in the.
Oh, baby.
It's gonna be a big week.
That's with today.
Okay.
Half? Half? She said 400. Sandy, is it 400? Did she say half? Is it half of that? Okay, so it's 400. In the pot, it'll be $400.
Last three digits.
685.
685. 685.
685. All right, nobody. Earl.
Shake it up.
Can't believe it. Down to the last few T's in there.
7.
Excitement continues. Okay.
8.
Anybody have any brags and sags?
I got two quick ones. I want to thank Larry Moss. Larry turned me on to an auction. This is all train related, by the way. Larry turned me on to an auction house, which worked out very, very, very well for me. Larry, thank you very much. And then last week I was having lunch with Jean Weeder, and she told me that the Southern Cover Rotary was going to have the founder of the Public Railroad speak that evening. So I got to attend that, learn more about that nonprofit.
Okay. Chuck?
This past weekend, I got a chance to go out to the Valley Forge Convention Center for the President-elect Training Seminar. I went Thursday night for the meet-and-greet. It was a social hour there, and I got to meet our new Rotary International President-elect, Gordon McAnally. and who's Scottish, so I wore my kilts the weekend, and he just thought that was the greatest thing in the world. He was, I want to get my picture with this guy here, you know, and it was just a lot of fun.
That sounds great, yeah. Thank you. Any final, Dean?
Today is the 1-year anniversary of my retirement. It's also a year that my wife's been doing chemo. Her spots have decreased. She's on her 3rd medication, and it's pretty going hard. The spots in my liver are gone. That's part of the good news. The other good news is a spot in my brain that had an MRI last week. It's the size of a pin. And that could be as far as it goes. It could be scar tissue. They don't know. However, I now have a spot on my lower back and the muscle and on my right hip in the muscle. So I'm going to be changing chemo. I'm still on the right side of the grass.
Any final comments? Oh, I'm sorry, one more?
Brain fart there, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm officially now registered for the Rotary International Conference in Melbourne. And it is pronounced Melbourne, it's not Melbourne, Australia, it's corrected by Australia. But anyway, so.
If nobody saw Marcia's post on Facebook, the Harleysville Rotary Club mobile unit is for sale.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, we have a Viking pop-up camper. That's a 2007 camper for sale. It's on Harleysville.
Okay, so when you're out and about this week, you don't know what kind of great discoveries you're going to make. Maybe you're going to see something new and spectacular, kind of like Yellowstone Park, which on this day in 1872 was declared the first national park in the United States. So when you're out and about today, we're going to simply talk about Rotary today. Everyone have a great week. I'll see you next week.